Let's go. Yeah. I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it. Fuse like a magnet, lose won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If the shit tastes sour, you should taste mine. I'ma stay in power for a long time. Get up, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Pricing the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. Never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast. And that's fast. Only I can make a change. Slowly take a step today. I will never be the same. That's what it takes.
Welcome, everybody. Happy Tuesday, January 6th, Tech Tuesday. And we are talking tonight about a ticker that some of y'all might be familiar with. If you're invested in the stock, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the chat. The ticker is ONDS. The company name is Ondas Holdings. It is up from March of 2025 from 57 cents to $12.84 with today's close. And some of you might be wondering, like I would be naturally as well, is the run already over in ONDS? That's kind of what we're going to do live today, thinking about what has gone on with ONDS and what does the future hold. And, you know, I think if you kind of think of stocks like a Palantir as an example, it was really cheap for a long time and nobody knew what was going to happen. And then, man, that thing just took off. And you never know if a company really starts generating revenue and hopefully positive net earnings, what can happen. So we're going to talk about ONDS in just a minute. I'm going to let a couple of other people come in the chat. Goody RX8 says he's got some options for February 20th. All right, we'll try and look at those as well. And let me see. I don't think I have the options tab on this particular screen, so let's add that. We'll come back to that in a minute. What we need to know about ONDS, just at a very high level, before we get into looking at financials or news reports. What does this company do? It is a company that provides private wireless, drone, and automated data solutions in the U.S. and internationally. From what I understand, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, they also have the military as one of their clients. This is kind of cutting edge new stuff. It's not going to be for everybody. I don't even own this stock yet. So let's just get that clear out of the way. But we talk in the Discord about a lot of different stocks, and this is one that I'm doing my early 2026 DD on. Yeah, we missed a run from 50 cents to 12 bucks, but where do the analysts see that it's going, and what do investors think that might happen with this stock over the coming year or 2 years? They have a investor day scheduled that I think we should all tune into. If you're interested in this sector, if you're invested in the stock, for sure. And that is going to be on January 16th, 2026. We'll get to the financials of the company in just a minute. You guys know I like to start out with that. And yeah, we'll talk about some of the meme stocks as I see some questions come in there. I do a lot of videos and live stream coverage on meme stocks because there's a lot of misinformation out there. Many of them I don't own. Some of them I do own. Some of them I own their competitors. If the company maybe, for example, is not profitable and diluting, I might own a competitor in the sector. If I'm watching the sector, hey, why not park your money in a company that's doing well while you're waiting for the other one to work out its corporate actions? But paying attention to a sector is how you identify what the good entries are. And that is why I want to pay attention to things like ONDS, Ondas. And this sector in particular is going to be something that we're watching in 2026. They have an investor day on January 16th highlighting an updated business plan, core and strategic growth program, and the 2026 financial outlook. Boy, don't some of you wish every company would just lay it all out on the table like this? I don't know about you guys, but I love management communication. I love to see a good core and strategic growth program communicated to investors. So I'm excited that they are having this, and we'll talk more about it after it's over on January 16th. Goodyear says there was some unusual options activity today, 616 in premium for $15 strikes. Let's start off by seeing what the analysts have to say on this stock after the Q3 earnings, which, by the way, let's look at quarterly income statement here before we look at the analysts. Look at this revenue growth. Granted, it's still small revenue, right? This is a small company. I don't want to mislead you. The numbers are the numbers. We're just going to talk about what we see here. But this revenue growth rate is impressive. Year over year, quarterly growth rates of over 500% in Q1, Q2, and Q3 2025. We like to see that. We like to see strong revenue growth. Operating income still negative. So, that happens in startup growing companies. It's not unexpected. What we would want to convince ourselves of is there a plan to grow revenue exponentially from here and or to grow into a positive operating income environment? Net income also negative, earnings per share obviously negative, free cash flow negative. So those are the challenges, right? We don't shy away from talking about the challenges here. It's part of understanding what is going on. Balance sheet, they had a major bump up in cash. We'll figure out the why on that. I haven't looked at all of these yet. They were carrying, $4, $20, $15, $67 million, and then They had a bump to 432 million. I'm going to guess they took on some debt or did a equity raise. We'll find out in just a second. Total current assets, 478 million. Total assets, 550 million. Total current liabilities, 31 million. Total liabilities, 62 million. So they didn't take on debt and the balance sheet looks fine. Why do I know that? Because of those things we just looked at. Plus we have positive shareholder equity of 487 million and a positive working capital of 447 million. So that I like. Now there are those people who will say, but the book value is only $1.48 per share. That is interesting to know, but we're not evaluating this as a value stock, and most stocks trade well above their book value. So you shouldn't be looking at book value unless you're looking for a value play where market cap is under book value. For most companies, that is simply not the case. So it's a distraction technique that some people use. They try and start out all their analysis looking at book value. Don't do that. Don't make that simple mistake. It's a bit clownish. But as value investors, we do sometimes sort for companies where market cap is under book value, and then it gives us a pile of stocks in the trash heap to look at. Maybe we'll do that on a weekend live stream. This, early part of January every year is where I kind of try and look for what am I going to do different this year. I already told the Discord what one of my New Year's resolutions is going to be. We had a great year picking stocks in 2024 and 2025. Many stocks that outperformed the indexes. However, the area of improvement that I need to work on for myself is when it hits, I always try and have an exit when I get an entry. Know your exit before you take your entry. That includes upside, and if things don't turn out the way that you wanted, have a risk management plan. But one thing that I noticed I was doing too frequently that was limiting my gains was taking a full exit once it hit my target price. Even if that target price was a 50 or 100% gain in a couple months on solid stocks. We're not talking meme stocks here. We look for value stocks. We look for ones that are out of favor in the moment, and we try and identify what they could go to. Often right in a massive way. But my biggest mistake was dumping the entire position. Even if it's at a healthy profit, I left profit potential on the table because many of those stocks kept going. And so I'm going to try and do better this year about following my rule of always be taking profits, but let's just amend the rule a little bit. Allow some of the trade to stay on the table to capture continued upside. I know that sounds very basic, but I personally get so caught up in let's just make sure every trade is profitable. Ding, 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 lock it in. I need to do better at leaving a little bit for further upside. All right. Let's see what happened. How did they get all this cash on the balance sheet last quarter? It was the issuance of common stock. Okay. So on your cash flow statement, you have your operating cash flow, your financing cash flow, and your investing cash flow. In the investing cash flow, this is where we would see if a company issued debt or issued stock, or if they repaid debt or bought back stock. And so this is where we see that they issued stock in Q3 and put almost $400 million on the balance sheet. Sometimes I see people that only do balance sheet analysis. Oh, this company, they're not ONDS, but they'll say the balance sheet, they lost $1 billion off the balance sheet. Where did it go? It's not a mystery where it went. Ding dongs, go to the cash flow statement. And most of the time you'll see that $1 billion went to dividends stock buybacks or paying down debt. I just don't understand how people get so myopically focused on a balance sheet that they can't then click over. It's really easy. It's one click to switch over to the cash flow statement and see what happened to that cash. Here we have cash coming in, though, $394 million. And if we look at the stock in Q3, it wasn't, it was a blip on the radar. This thing moving like wildfire. Market cap on this stock, $4.87 billion. Shares outstanding, 379 million. Let me pull up a couple of other tools that we like to use here on the channel. ONDS. And then we'll look at the analyst forecast. This is Dilution Tracker, a great tool. It is expensive, but if you want to get an inside look at corporate actions, warrants, debt, filings, potential dilution headed your way, or historical dilution, this is a great tool. You can see where the outstanding share count went up from 174 million to 320 million in September and 375 million in the quarter ending, or the month ending December. So substantial dilution, but the stock just took it right in stride if you go back and look at the chart. The other thing that Dilution Tracker gives you is just a quick, rough and dirty analysis of the company's cash position. And those of you like me who enjoy dabbling in troubled companies, the ones where we're looking for that asymmetric short squeeze type return, it's still good to keep track of things like dilution and cash position, because a lot of the tickers we look at or we're dabbling in, the reason you have to be careful is many of them have negative cash positions. Not the case here. This company has 291 months of cash left based on their quarterly cash burn and their estimated current cash position. 841 million. That's not what I saw, but maybe I missed something. We'll come back to that. Whatever the number is, whether it's 290 months or 150 months, it's certainly not a negative cash position. Barely Social Gator, good evening. Anya says she got in ONDS on 11/26. Anya beating me to the punch on another ticker. Good job, Anya. The company does have some warrants with exercise price of $20. It's good to know about these things. They are hanging out there as potential dilution overhang. Warrants. Pipe warrants, convertible notes, conversion price 80 cents. October notes. I need to look and see on the company's financials how many of these notes are paid off or still hanging out there. But these are things you can get from Dilution Tracker, a quick summary of any warrants or convertibles that a company has. And as part of your very first day of due diligence, this is kind of the process that you go through. How do you spend your first 10 minutes? Do you just buy? I mean, maybe if you're a swing trader or you're just trying to ride some momentum, maybe you don't care about the financials. But if you're thinking you want to be a long-term holder, you want to dig into some of this stuff to kind of have a lay of the land, understand your risk. You could be super bullish, but it's still good to understand the foundation of what you're buying in. What's the company's income statement, balance sheet, and cash flow statement look like? And what's their cash position relative to cash burn? And do they have any warrants or convertibles that you need to be aware of? Forecast from analysts. 4 analysts covering the stock. They have it rated a strong buy with an average price target of $11.50, which is below the current price. We have a range from $10 to $12, average of $11.50. And the other thing that I look at here on stockanalysis.com is when you get a analyst forecast and you're looking at them, how recent are those updates? Every now and then we see analysts hadn't updated a ticker in 2 years and the stock is trading at 75 cents and people say, but the analysts say it's going to $5. Yeah, that was initial coverage 2 years ago. They put a $5 price target on it and never came back. And so you got to be careful on that. Use a tool like this to go look and see how recent are the forecasts. And here we have recent updates, which I like. November and December price targets of 10, 12, 10, and 12. So that is good. And perhaps you can go look up these people's names even and see if you can find their report, or it might be in the company news. More details about what they said. Revenue growth trends going into the next couple years. Fiscal year 2026, they're predicting a revenue growth of 240%, 77% in FY 2027, and another 60% after that. If they are correct in their analysis of earnings, the company is not predicted by analysts to get to positive earnings till FY 2028. So again, as somebody who's just approaching this, like, walk up and let's look at this non-emotionally. Is it something we want to get involved in? I like the revenue growth expectations, but I also need to be aware of at what point could they be positive earnings. And we have a couple more years here of positive earnings, 2029 and 2030. So, there's a couple of minor yellow flags here, mainly related to the lack of positive income, but a lot of good story, I think, that maybe this one should be on your radar to do a little bit of digging into. Anya says ONDS is involved with drones. Yes. So let's look up a couple of things. And again, I have a movie at 8 o'clock, which means 8:30 after you factor in all the previews and such. So we're just doing a quick high-level overview tonight. And I encourage you, in the Discord, we're going to set up a room for ONDS. If you're watching this on a live stream later, leave me a comment. Tell me if you want more coverage of this. We cover a lot of different tickers here, but for whatever reason, people aren't interested in tickers that are going to make a lot of money unless they have a high short interest. I think that's probably not the right way to do it. You should be looking at a lot of different companies in a lot of different sectors, have a diversified portfolio, some profitable companies with growing revenue and growing earnings, some up and comers, maybe like a ONDS. And then if you want to have a little bit of mad money on a speculative squeeze stock or a meme stock, that's cool with me too. I do it from time to time. What I don't want behind these people telling you guys to put all of your money in one stock. And that is not because I work for the shorts. I'm not even mentioning a ticker. You could imagine any ticker in any retail community. They tell you go all in on this, sell everything else, only buy this stock. This one's the guarantee to make you a millionaire. Maybe, right? You could get lucky, but you have put all of your risk into one pile. And so when I talk about diversification, I'm talking about, I don't mean a grab bag of AMC and GameStop. You got two meme stocks that are struggling on their charts. I don't mean a grab bag of Finger, GTII, MMTLP, and GNS. I don't mean that's not diversification either. Diversification is have a portfolio with safety built into it, profits, growing revenues, growing earnings, and charts that are going over many years up and to the right. And then look, that's your core, right? That's how you grow your portfolio safely. And then if you're looking to, you could also invest in index matching ETFs. If you don't have time to look into every company in detail like this, I have the luxury of time. I have the luxury of being able to spend 12 hours a day reading through financial statements and listening to earnings calls. Not all of y'all do. So maybe a ETF with the index matching is maybe better for you. But if you're just piling your money into one stock, you're really, really amping up your risk. And boy, do people get mad when I say diversify. They will list and they will lie and twist and squirm and try and rejigger my words. He just wants you to buy AMC and GameStop. No, I don't. That is projection. That is, what are the other words that someone uses to try and discredit someone? When I say diversify, if you have any common sense in your head, you should know what diversification means. Spread your risk out. If you talk to anybody, an accountant, not even someone that's in the stock market, go talk to a financial planner, financial advisor, an accountant, your favorite college kid that's taking finance. Everyone is going to tell you diversification is the key to safety. And if you're not interested in safety, you just want to roll it all on one, that is the you choice. And I'm not going to try and talk you out of it. Do as you wish. But you cannot come back later and complain that someone ripped you off. The company, the management, the market makers, FINRA. You made a conscious choice to put your life savings in one company, often that was troubled, and it didn't work out. You got to diversify because none of us are perfect at picking that one company. But if we have a couple of good bets and a couple of them pay off, we've spread our risk around. And then we have our core portfolio of profitable companies that are just ringing the cash register safely, maybe a little bit boring. I get it. No one likes to talk about growth stocks or value stocks because they're boring. Who wants to make 20% a year? But that is over time, as you develop your investing career, that is how you grow your portfolio. The younger you are, the more time you have to compound your gains. Yeah. What are you going to do with those gains? You're just going to take that money, and I love what they say. Why are you going to diversify? What are you going to make? 20%? You're going to make 100% in Unity? You're going to make 100% in IMAX? And what are you going to do with that gain? You're just going to go spend it? You're going to waste it on a car? This projection nonsense that you hear on other channels. No, we're not going to waste our money. We're going to what? We're going to reinvest it. We're going to reinvest it in the next thing and maybe let a little bit ride. ONDS, Mission Critical Networks, Autonomous Drone Infrastructure, Counter UAV, and Artificial Intelligence. Leading provider of tech platforms that digitize industrial and government operations. They work with blue chip customers and partners. And Ondas is now at an inflection point in revenue growth. Let's go. We saw that with the 500% quarterly revenue growth over the last 3 quarters. Every quarter up 500%. Beautiful. Our subsidiaries include Ondas Networks, American Robotics, Aero Robotics, Iron Drone, and Aperio Motion. Offices in Israel, Massachusetts, California, and Israel. Although I thought I saw something that they set up an office in Florida too. We'll maybe talk about that on a different video. Grow our money, Anya. Yes, we want to grow our money as quickly as possible while keeping in mind risk management. And everybody, every single one of you is going to have a different risk tolerance, a different risk management strategy, a different portfolio size. And I get it. I get that a few of you out there watching, your back is against the wall. You've got your last $1,000 and you need a moonshot to hit. I get it. And that's a choice for you to make, but you must understand that if you put all of your $1,000 in a Bitcoin treasury company like GNS, where the financials are just awful because you're counting on the company to do something with Bitcoin, or you're counting on a lawsuit settlement. You have put all of your risk in one very troubled company. Maybe it works. Odds are it doesn't. And even if it does work, too many of you aren't taking an exit at all. You let things run up. You listen to people that say they're going up 1,000x. They go up 1, 2, 300x, and you don't sell. And then it plummets all the way back down. Let's make 2026 better for all of us, for all of you. Better decisions, better risk management, better discipline at taking some profits off the table. Investing is not a team sport. You have to take care of yourself and your family. And we're going to talk about having good plans this year, more so than we ever have, because the amount of nonsense I had to listen to in the last 12 months and the last 6 months, even in the last 30 days, from people telling you guys don't diversify and put all your money in this shitty company, it really, really pisses me off that people say that stuff, that they mean it, and that other people listen to it. It makes me mad, but I don't, I'm not going to tell you what to do. You do whatever you want. But then I see their audience get so mad at the CEO, mad at FINRA, mad at the market makers, mad at attorneys, because the stock didn't work out. The first step to fixing the mistakes you're making is recognizing the mistakes. And again, that's why in tomorrow's video, we're going to talk a little bit about risk management and diversification, a quick educational video with some tools that you can really use on every ticker that you're looking at. And I hope that it helps you. And I look forward to getting that out to you tomorrow. I was going to try and do it today, but we got a little busy. Anya says you don't want to end up waiting tables at Texas Roadhouse. Exactly, Anya. That is a case in point of poor risk management. A timely comment from Anya. Let's see what we do. Ondas. Mission critical networks in transportation, utilities, oil and gas, and government. I'm not going to go through all of these. I just want to get a quick, this is our first really, you and me together, look at this company. Maybe you're already familiar with it, and that's cool, but it's my very first baby step into doing a deep dive before I decide to plunk down some money. From commercial and passenger rail operations to self-driving vehicles and aviation, there are a whole host of transportation applications that our FullMax technology is suited for. Primary networks for security, reliability. Okay, utilities. Let's see what else they do. Utilities, oil and gas, government. Federal, state, and local governments continue to advance and automate operations. Internet of Things, blah, blah, blah. I like it. Autonomous drones. I love this sector. Urban, public safety, energy, construction, mining, defense. The Optimus system is the most advanced and reliable autonomous drone-in-a-box system on the market. This technology is ideally suited to support defense and homeland security applications. Optimus can be installed on borders, at military bases, and at other high-value, high-risk locations to enable continuous 24/7 autonomous ISR in rugged environments. I want to see the, well, let's go through this real quick. A drone in a box. It's a drone in a box. Do they have music? I don't want to play music. Yeah, they do have music. So let's keep it on mute for a minute. 3D modeling with LiDAR. Enhanced 3D visualization with photogrammetry. Very cool. It's a drone in a box. Counter drone solutions. Iron Drone is an advanced counter drone solution designed to defend assets against hostile drones in complex environments with minimal collateral damage. I like this Iron Drone play on Iron Dome. Fully automated intercepting system designed to eliminate small drones without using GPS or RF jamming. Launched from a designated pod, the intercepting drone flies autonomously towards targets under radar guidance, then identifies and locks onto the target using proprietary computer vision and AI. The drone follows the target, incapacitates and captures it using a ballistic net and a parachute to safely lower it to the ground. What about just shooting it down? I'm super excited to learn more about these products over the rest of this week. And of course, we've got a whole tab talking about the AI play. You guys know that we've been digging into various AI plays in the Discord and here on the channel. We'll talk more about some of our AI plays later this week or this weekend. But anybody that's got a toe in the door on AI, I think for 2026 and 2027 is somebody that you should be paying attention to. Enabling the industrial metaverse through cutting-edge AI. How does their AI enhance inspection of oil and gas assets? Routine monitoring and inspection. Sifting through massive amounts of high-resolution drone-based imagery data to find anomalies and detect issues. Detect oil leaks. Reduce maintenance cost and reduce regulatory fines. Detect methane emissions and other GHGs with drone-based imagery. Interesting stuff. Rail inspection. I think they already do drone-based. Do they do drone-based utility line inspections? I don't know. Not they, but I mean the industry. Let's look at their leadership real quick. See if I recognize any names. Eric Brock, MBA from University of Chicago, BS from Boston College. Entrepreneur with over 20 years of global banking and investing experience. Founding partner and portfolio manager with Clo Capital. So the CEO, this was a SPAC, right? If I'm not mistaken. Chairman and CEO of Ondas Holdings has ties to the financial industry, which, unless you think the whole financial industry is corrupt, it's probably good to have ties to the finance industry if you need funding to grow your business. Neil Laird, CFO since June 2024. Expertise includes mergers and acquisitions, financing, international operations, and SEC reporting. I like it. CFO at several Silicon Valley-based companies. And he's a qualified UK chartered accountant with an MA in economics from Cambridge, a fellow economist. I love it. Patrick Houston, COO and General Counsel, holds FAA commercial pilot ratings and is an attorney. Retired U.S. Army Brigadier General with over 35 years experience. I like that. Especially, you want to have people on your executive team or board if you're dealing with the military. It's helpful to have somebody that was a 35. Well, it doesn't say that he was in the military for 35 years, but he was a brigadier general, so he was in for a while. 35 years of experience in national security operations policy and law. Mark Green, head of global corporate development and M&A. He founded Green Capital Group, held senior technology investment banking roles at firms like Collins Stewart and C.E. Unterberg. Master's degree in business and a degree from the University of Westminster. I'm not going to go through all these names in this live stream because we're running low on time. But let's finish up looking at this Investor Day announcement. What do they want us to know? The virtual Investor Day, virtual. Maybe we can live stream it. I got to look and see what the schedule is, how long it's going to be, if I have free time to do it. If not, we'll just do a wrap up after. Maybe we'll watch it live in the Discord together in one of the voice rooms. We'll see. We got a few days to figure it out. It will feature a comprehensive update on the company's 2026 business plan with primary focus on OAS and the company's evolution in 2025 into a high growth integrated operating platform. Senior leadership will outline the company's strategic priorities, operating model, and capital allocation framework as Ondas enters its next phase of scaled execution. I like that phrase, scaled execution. I want to hear more about that. They will review the company's core and strategic growth plan for 2026 and beyond, detailing how the company is combining disciplined execution of its core business with targeted strategic investments, partnerships, and acquisitions to accelerate growth. I love it. I love to hear a company talk about their plan for targeted strategic investments, partnerships, and acquisitions to accelerate growth. I wish more companies would talk about that. Expanding their global market reach and enhancing the long-term shareholder value. The presentation will highlight how Ondas operating platforms spanning technology, manufacturing, go-to-market execution, and capital formation positions the company to support increasing customer demand across defense, homeland security, and critical infrastructure markets. I mean, I'm not going to lie, just based on what I'm seeing here, I'm going to go look and see if they have any jobs available. I would love to work again at a cutting edge tech company like this, even if I got to move to Florida. This is exciting stuff. Exciting stuff. My initial gut reaction to this company is pretty good. Not thinking about stock price and what it might go, but the areas they have their tentacles in, and from what I see about the management team, looks kind of exciting initially. Homeland security equals money. That's what I'm talking about, Anya. Whenever you can get them government contracts. Good stuff. Ondas expects to provide a financial update and outlook for 2026, including discussion of anticipated revenue growth, investment priorities, and progress toward improving operating leverage as the company scales. That was the one thing, as we were looking at the financial statements in the beginning of this live stream that kind of jumped out at me. They have some negative operating income, but they're already addressing it here right up front. They're going to talk about how they're going to improve, how they're going to progress toward improved operating leverage as the company scales. And if the company is properly set up to scale manufacturing and staffing, key personnel, whatever their pinch point is, if they're set up to scale, you could see massive growth in startup companies like this. Management will outline key financial assumptions underpinning the 2026 plan, capital requirements to support growth initiatives. Where are they going to get the capital from? Is there going to be more equity raises? Are they going to be looking at debt, private placements? I mean, these are things that we would want to pay attention to. So it's good that they'll talk about that. And the company's approach to balancing near-term investment with long-term value creation for shareholders. They will finally also provide an update on the product portfolio, including the unmanned aerial and ground systems and counter-UAS platforms, progress in global customer engagements, and the company's roadmap for scaling production, field operations, and international deployments. They will discuss how investments made in 2025 have strengthened the company's ability to execute as a unified global operating company. So that is going to be Friday, January 16th. When I get back from my movie tonight, I'll put a link to this in the video description in case you just want to go register and listen to by yourself. If I'm able to, I'll try and live stream this on Friday the 16th. So we will see. So that is kind of the high level overview of ONDS. If you're new here, stock has run already from 57 cents to almost $13 based on massive revenue growth. They have a fine balance sheet. They did raise some money through equity raise in the last quarter. Didn't even slow down the stock one bit because they are looking, they're clocking over 500% year over year quarterly revenue growth. And the question that we should be asking as reasonable investors is, do we expect now that things are going to flatten out from here or continue growing? That's going to be the bet. That's going to be the analysis for ONDS. That's going to be what I'm listening for when I tune in to the investor presentation on the 16th. And those are some of the things that I'm going to be looking into now that I've done this very first high-level overview. I've got some more homework to do, probably a full day of reading through the history of their financials, multiple 10Ks, 10Qs, the SPAC, if they were a SPAC. I'm assuming they were. Maybe not. I don't know. At any rate, we've got some 10Qs and 10Ks. See what analyst reports I can come up with, what the latest news is, all to build my foundation to be able to let the information provided on the 16th really resonate. I don't want to listen on the 16th. You don't want to just think about where they're going if you don't understand where they've been. Anya says, just read the news. Drones are in demand. Yep. They certainly are, Anya. And I don't think that is going to slow down, especially for industrial and military. Military, potentially unlimited growth potential for the right company. It's our job to find what is the right company. All right. I need to book a movie ticket here real quick. Stand by. This is your moment to ask any questions. There we go. We are going to see We Bury the Dead, the zombie movie. We still have not seen, Anya, Song Song Blue. We haven't seen SpongeBob. We did go see Anaconda, hilarious. Song Song Blue is on the list for this week. SpongeBob might get skipped. It depends on how long SpongeBob stays out there, because there are new movies already getting ready to come out, and I'm going to fall behind. Andre Edwards says, I saw Bury the Dead yesterday. I enjoyed it. Great. Good to hear that somebody enjoyed it. I've watched the preview, haven't looked at any reviews, so going into it kind of blind, but I like everything zombies. So, our movie stock, $1.52. A lot of chatter in the Discord about AMC. I don't talk about it much on YouTube. Maybe once a week, maybe once a month. I've already done my Q1 earnings estimate. If you're in AMC and you want to know what I think about Q4 and what I'm worried about for Q1, you can go check that video out. GameStop, another meme stock that we follow. I do have a long position in GameStop. You can see my two most recent buys down here in the low 20s. Cost basis just over $20, including all of my purchases. I'm riding the line right here. We're about at an inflection point where either I'm going to go in the red a little bit, which is fine. I'm not worried about GameStop with the money they have on their balance sheet, or we get a bounce here off of this demand zone. So we'll kind of see how this week plays out. But I've got 2 videos for you with my thoughts on GameStop, maybe 3 in the last week. Go check those out. We're going to be talking a little bit more about Unity software this year. And our OTC stock that I am invested in, and some people in the Discord, is Railtown, a Canadian AI play. Recent partnership with TELUS up in Canada, a sovereign Canadian AI play with a pre-revenue company, highly speculative, that we expect to start booking revenue in their partnership with TELUS beginning in February. I don't know if management's going to give us any updates about revenue expectations before a quarterly earnings, but let's say they don't, then we might not get our first look at quarterly earnings with revenue till the middle of the year. So I'm going to just, to be safe, because people love to blame folks on YouTube, I'm going to say this is a speculative play and do your own research. But I've got 7 months of my entire due diligence process, from being very skeptical to being fully on board. How it turns out, stay tuned. We will find out together. Yeah, Anya says, I heard acting by the female star in Song Song is Blue is great. She is the daughter of Goldie Hawn. What is that chick's name? We were just watching a movie with her the other day, Anya. Her name is escaping me at the moment. Hey Siri, what is Goldie Hawn's daughter's name?
Here's an answer from information.
Yeah, Kate Hudson. Kate Hudson. We like Kate Hudson. She looks like a fun person. I like it. Anya says, I would love to know TELUS's success rate with its partnerships. Yeah, that is a good question, Anya. I haven't looked too much into the history of TELUS or their management or any partnerships that they've done. But keep in mind, they're mainly a telecom company, and this data factory thing is kind of new for them. So I think the real big question I have, and there's a lot of wild speculation out there on social media with Railtown, is what is the revenue share between Railtown and TELUS going to be? Now, keep in mind, TELUS built an AI factory. They have all the capital investment. They have all the bills to pay. They have all the NVIDIA GPUs that they bought, all of the staffing. They have all of the capital risk. But there are people saying with this Railtown TELUS partnership, Railtown could be making between 20 to 50% revenue share for every dollar they bring to TELUS. That just does not seem to me grounded in any world of reality, to think that someone who's just applying a layer of software into an AI factory, agentic AI, is necessary. I think Railtown's going to have a fantastic partnership with TELUS. I think it is ridiculous to be telling people on YouTube channels that Railtown could be getting a 50% revenue share. There's like zero normal people would say that makes sense. Even 20% seems high. I think that if we're planning on revenue expectations that Railtown could make in their partnership with TELUS, you should be thinking single digits. What's the lowest it could be? 1%, right? Have a sensitivity table in your analysis of revenue potential. What is the revenue? What is the revenue share? And make sure that no matter how you vary those variables, that your investment thesis still makes sense. There's a lot of crazy numbers being thrown out on social media about Railtown. I have very reasonable numbers. You're going to get sick of me saying that. But if I'm right, and it's reasonable revenue share, reasonable profits, my investment is still going to be solid in Railtown. The only way I lose is if they don't make revenue, or they decide to go on a buying spree and snap up a bunch of other companies, get ahead of the horses by diluting to buy other companies. I'm not worried about any of those negatives in particular. Based on my talks with management, they're focused on the growth plan now, the scaling. So we need to see that revenue hit. If I'm wrong that it's not a reasonable number, the revenue share, and it's a massive number, whether the revenue is massive or the share is massive, if we're looking at our sensitivity table, if either one of those is much bigger than I'm expecting, then it's still a win for me. I will take an upside win every day of the week. What I hate to do is overpromise something to you guys by doing poor analysis, by doing hopium pie in the sky analysis. I think that is very dangerous, and there's just too much of that going on YouTube. Ticker in the US is RLAIF. In Canada, it trades on the CSE as RAIL. The CSE is kind of like it's a startup exchange in Canada. It's the equivalent of if you were in Silicon Valley and you needed venture capital money, like some of Railtown's competitors, except in Canada, they got a list, and they list on the CSE, and we're the venture capital. This is highly speculative money, but the payoff can be asymmetric if our DD is correct and if the company executes to its plan. So cross fingers on that. We'll talk more about Railtown later this week, and the discussion in Discord will continue. If you're in the VIP section of Discord, I updated my lower buy limit orders on Railtown this week, letting you know if it drops where have my next buy targets at while we're waiting on the revenue news. So we're at 8:05 now. I got to head out, or I'm not going to make it in time to the movie. It was a scheduled 8 o'clock start time, which means 8:30. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this talk. about ONDS. Ondas. I hope that, a few of you, maybe it's your first time here, that if you're a long-term holder or a believer in Ondas, I'd love to have you on the research team here. Leave me a comment and let me know your thoughts about ONDS. This is always a collaborative effort. If you see something you don't like, feel free to share those thoughts too. I don't discriminate against people for having different viewpoints, as long as you can talk like an adult. Be able to talk like an adult. We want a team of reasonable investors that can have back and forth discussion about the good and the bad. And if you like that, the link to the Discord is down in the video description. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. We will see you on the next one.
Hold our ground. We've been waiting for so long. Edges rain will soon be gone. A green candle up, a red candle down. By the dip, gotta hold our ground. Edges games are dead and gone. Fuck the shorts, we're going long. If you down it, sit and stare. If you love it, buy it, share. A green candle up, a red candle down. By the dip, gotta hold our ground. We've been waiting for so long. Edges rain will soon be gone. A green candle up, a red candle down. By the dip, gotta hold our ground. Edges games are dead and gone. Fuck the shorts, we're going long. If you down and sit